How do you bake pizza? Do you use just flour, salt, yeast, and water? You need a little, let it rise, and that's it? Well, today I'm going to show you that with the same ingredients and doing practically the same things, I am going to take that pizza to another level. And they're going to be much lighter, crunchier, and more flavorful. We're going to achieve this by using preferments. We'll use Biga to make a pizza in teglia, the classic pan pizza from Italy. Then with Poolish, we'll bake a Detroit-style pizza with lots of grated cheese. And then a pizza that is becoming very popular on the internet, the Fugazzeta. So let's get started and may the gluten be with you. We are ready to start with the pizzas, and in front of me I have all these ingredients, like this mozzarella that I love. We also take opportunity to water this basil to always keep it fresh. But let's get back to the main thing, yeast, also known as Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which we can mostly get it in two ways, dried or fresh. Dried comes in granulated form and it can be kept at room temperature. It ferments slower, so it is generally recommended to use it in the warmer seasons of the year. And it will help us to keep the dough from overproofing. Then we have the fresh yeast, which is the same fungus as the previous one. The only difference with this one, it has been less dehydrated, so it will ferment faster. What you need to keep in mind is that this yeast expires faster, so it needs to be kept at cold temperatures, for example, the fridge. And finally, the big question that the home bakers always have, what is the equivalence? 1 gram of dry yeast is 3 grams of fresh yeast, or 3 grams of fresh yeast equals 1 gram of dry yeast. But what we're going to do today is take our dough to another level, taking advantage of the yeast to make a preferment, which is going to make the dough much lighter, crunchier, and much tastier. As the name suggests, they are doughs that we're going to have to make prior to the final dough. So let's get started. Let's go with a classic Italian pizza, Pizza in Teglia. Here you can see the formula, so you can upload it into my app. First, we're going to prepare the Biga. For that, we need double zero Italian type flour or bread flour, water, and fresh yeast. It can also be dry, remember the proportion. Then, for the final dough, you will need more flour, water, salt, and olive oil. The other ingredients that we're going to use next are mozzarella cheese, a good Parmesan cheese, a creamy burrata, some fresh basil leaves, and a good Italian tomato. We're going to prepare the Biga. Is that it is a low hydrated dough because it has 1 part flour and half part water with a pinch of yeast. Mix all the ingredients well and that's it. It's that easy. Now we're going to cover it and we're going to leave it at room temperature for around 18, well, in this case it was a little bit faster, but the idea is it's to leave it for around 18 hours. On the right, we have the freshly made Biga, and on the left, the pre-fermented Biga. The difference between the two is very subtle. You can simply see in the already fermented Biga a better gluten development and just a little more air. But you will notice all the difference in the pizza dough, because of its flavor and lightness. It's time to make the final dough, which I recommend you to do with a mixer. In the bowl, place the Biga and then add the remaining flour, then the salt, and start kneading. Immediately after, we are going to add the water little by little and see how the gluten develops. Now that the dough is formed, it's time to add the olive oil. We've got the dough and look at how strong it is. Wow, unbelievable. That's the magic of the gluten. We transfer it to a bowl and now we check the membrane. That is the key to knowing that we have made a perfect kneading. Now a few folds, cover it and we'll take it to the fridge for a cold and overnight fermentation. And here it is again. Look at how much air that dough has. It couldn't be lighter. Now, with a little semolina on the counter, we unmold it very carefully so as not to degas it. Now we flip it and move to the best part, stretching it with our fingers. I love this part. Tell me if it's not the best baking therapy one can do. Now, in this baking tray, we're going to transfer the dough without adding any oil. It has the same semolina that we use to stretch it. Time to break the tomatoes with our hands. I highly recommend it.
I love this part.
Now we're going to go all over the pizza. A few flakes of salt, and we're going to put a little olive oil on it. We take it to the preheated oven, where we are going to pre-cook the pizza for around 5 minutes. That's going to be key to achieving an airy crumb. Feel that perfume. Time to add the mozzarella cheese in small pieces and continue with the grated Parmesan cheese. We immediately take it back to the oven, and we're going to leave it there for around 5 more minutes, until the cheese is completely melted. And this is the sexiest moment in the video, when we place those dollops of creamy burrata on top of the pizza. Now we continue with some fresh basil leaves, a drizzle of olive oil, and we're ready to cut it up. Take a look at that slice. It's full of air. An incredible amount of bubbles. The secret is a preferment we use, the Biga, which gives it all that air and lightness, and at the same time make it super crunchy and tastier. Let's give it a try.
And as usual, the best part of the video, tasting.
Now we are moving continents and we're going to make a Detroit classic. Here's a formula for you to add into my app. First, we're going to prepare the Poolish. For that, we need bread flour, water, and a little yeast. For the final dough, a little more flour, the already fermented Poolish, some semolina flour, salt, water, and olive oil. You will also need mozzarella cheese, shredded cheese, a good Parmesan cheese, some grated cheese, and tomato sauce. We're going to prepare the Poolish, which unlike the previous Biga, this one has equal parts of flour and water, which we're going to mix with a small pinch of yeast. And that's it. Now we cover it and let the magic of the gluten to do its job. Now we wait till the dough triples in size. And a few hours later we have the Poolish back. Look at the amount of bubbles and air that this dough has. That's going to make our pizza extremely light. In a bowl we are going to place all the flours, the fermented Poolish, salt, and water. We are just going to integrate all the ingredients. We're not going to knead at all. There's no gluten development here. Let's cover it and let it rest for an hour. We wet our hands and we're going to see the difference. And there you see it, the dough kneaded on its own. That's called autolyze. Now we make a couple of folds and cover it again and let it rest for half an hour.
Are you lost with all the sourdough bread recipes that you find on the internet? Would you like to learn all the tips and tricks to make your own sourdough bread at home? Then I have the solution. I have designed the perfect masterclass of sourdough bread just made for you. By clicking the link on the description, you will learn how to make and take care of your sourdough starter, how to knead, shape, ferment, and bake your sourdough bread, how to use and read the baker's percentage, all the basic techniques to bake like a pro at home, and how to read and understand your dough. Don't miss out on it and click the link on the description right now.
We already have the dough back and we're going to make more folds with our wet hands. That's going to help for a better gluten development, which is going to allow the dough to trap more gases, and that's going to give us a very airy crumb. Cover it and leave it there until it doubles in size. And finally, and take a look at how huge it is now, full of bubbles.
Now in a baking dish, we place a little olive oil and unmold the dough in there, very carefully so as not to lose all those fermentation gases. We arrange it a little bit with our hands, and now we load it with mozzarella cheese. Yes, lots of cheese. And then some more. Now the secret is to grate some Parmesan cheese on the edges, so they will become really crispy. And now it's time to take it to a preheated oven with the convection fan on. And I want you to look at this time lapse. And about 20 minutes later, this is the incredible result that we are going to get. That's it, let's get it out. The truth is that this pizza looks incredible. Take a look at those bubbles. While we let the pizza cool a little, we are now going to prepare the tomato sauce. Very important in this pizza. And for that, we're going to use some crushed tomatoes and a little salt. Yes, it's a very simple but very effective sauce.
And now with this spatula,
that's where the pizza comes out. Incredible. Now we're going to cut it up. But wait, you thought I forgot about the tomato sauce, didn't you? Now, it goes on top. Yes, as you're watching right now, that's why I cut the pizza earlier. Now we add some grated Parmesan cheese, and look at this. Who doesn't love that melted cheese? And let's go with another slice. Let's go with another one. And another one. Listen to this.
I don't know what to say, but I think this is the other best moment of the video.
And we've reached the last pizza, an Argentinian classic, the Fugazzeta. And here's the formula for you to add it in my app as well. And this one, unlike the other two previous ones, we're going to make it just with yeast. But it's also going to be super lightweight. The secret will be to use a little yeast and ferment it for a long time. We slowly begin to integrate all the ingredients, and immediately, as soon as the dough is formed, we lower it to the counter and start heating it with our hands. Yes, you have to knead it by hand, but believe me, and it's not going to be for that long. Okay, a couple more moves, a tap over here, and we're done. Transfer it to a bowl and cover it. We're going to let that dough triple in size. Then we're going to need shredded mozzarella, more shredded cheese, mandolin cut onions, and dried oregano. Any similarity was by accident. Now we slowly uncover the dough and take a look at it. Look at all the air in that dough. I told you, it was worth it. It looks like it's alive. For this Fugazzeta, we're going to use this classic pizza pan. And on the flour counter, we're going to unmold the dough. Look at how much air it has. Now we're going to divide it in half, but not into equal portions. We shape the dough balls, one bigger and one more smaller. And we're all set. And with this rolling pin, we're going to stretch the pizza base. Yes, don't be afraid to use it, because there are no Neapolitans watching. We have it ready, and now we transfer it to the pizza pan. Let's arrange it with our hands, and that's all. Now we're going to stretch the other part, which is the top.
Yes, this pizza has two doughs, a base and a top, and you're going to see why. A few last adjustments and we leave it resting there. On the pizza base, we're going to start placing mozzarella. Yes, lots of it. We're going to load it with a lot of mozzarella cheese. And if you thought that the previous pizza had a lot, this one has a lot more. But it's going to look amazing. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Let's continue and place the top. The secret is to close it perfectly, so that all that cheese, when it melts, doesn't escape from the pizza. We make a small chimney on top of it and cover it with all that onion that we cut with the mandolin. A pinch of salt and a spritz of olive oil. You have no idea how much this pizza weighs. Let's take it to the oven at 430 degrees Fahrenheit for around 20 minutes. And here it is again. Look at the beautiful color it has.
Il profumo della Fugazzeta.
This pizza is one of my favorites and I hope it's yours too. How cute that looks, doesn't it? But we have to cut it too. Please raise your hand if you have ever seen a better explicit cheese scene than this one. Wow, I love it. The best part again. How does it taste? If this is not the best part, which one is the best part? Ah, wow. And now we finally got to the end of the video, where we made this first pizza. Pizza in Teglia, a very Roman pizza made with Biga. Super airy, super crispy, and also very, very tasty. Then we discovered the secrets of Poolish to make this tremendous Detroit-style pizza, filled with tomato and lots of cheese. You probably don't know which one to choose anymore, right? But there's still one more to go. Here comes the Fugazzeta, a new classic that is becoming trendy on social media. Be sure to try this pizza if you're a cheese fan like me, and the onions as well. Please let me know in the comments what you thought about all these 3 pizzas, which one is your favorite, whether you already knew about them or not. And I'll see you in the next video. Guten Morgen, everyone.
I hope you have enjoyed this video. And if you want to learn more about sourdough bread and sourdough starter, I encourage you to check the link on the description. And remember, this masterclass was especially designed for you.